Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us. Today we have Nouhaila Chelkhaoui, who will be talking about newcomers in inclusivity and tech, or sorry, newcomers and inclusivity in tech. Nouhaila is the founder of Scale Without Borders, helping newcomers access resources in tech to succeed and helping employers to tap into the brilliant pool of immigrant tech talent. Nouhaila is an immigrant to Canada herself, having moved from Morocco at the age of 17 on her own. So I will pass it on over to you and we can get started.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Abby. I would love to hear. I know we have a couple people in the session. Would love to hear from everyone. Say hi in the chat. Tell me where you're from. Imran Ahmed, I see you. You're from Edmonton. That's amazing. Thank you for joining us. If you would like to intro yourself, please do so. We have Abby, of course, from Hamilton, and James from Oakville, founder and CEO of Candidly. Buffalo, New York. Wow. Really from all over the place. Amazing. Welcome, welcome. So this is going to be a pretty interactive session, which I'm hoping for. I do not intend to lecture you on anything, more of a roundtable. So really excited to have this small group. As Abby mentioned, I'm from Scale Without Borders. Quick introduction so you know what Scale Without Borders does. We help newcomer tech talent access the resources they need to succeed. And we also work with partners, such as possibly yourself, tap into and hire from this brilliant pool of newcomer tech talent and also enhance the employer brand. So we've been around for a couple of years. This year has been really, really busy. Of course, for obvious reasons, and we're really excited about what we're doing. Let's see. Okay. Very quickly, again, over the years, we've really become the go-to platform for immigrants in tech because we like to think we host really awesome events, virtual or in person programs. We provide them with access to employers and tech jobs, and also knowledge and the community because, of course, newcomers are new to this country. I was new once upon a time as well, and I know that these are some difficulties I faced firsthand. All right, so on to the topic, which is really around inclusivity of newcomers in tech, and how to really better work with immigrants and newcomers. We're all, you're all leaders in HR, in recruitment, or you're founders and CEOs of your own companies. And hopefully, this is a topic that you will want to learn more about. So, there are challenges that newcomers in tech face that we must start with understanding. So, first and foremost, well, actually, there's a number. Number one is, of course, access to key networks. Newcomers coming here to the country, they don't have any family or networks. In some cases, if they didn't go to university here, they don't have that university network either. And as we all know, networking is really, really key to recruitment and getting jobs that are exciting and that really fulfill you and are commensurate with your own experience. So that's why, this is a big challenge that newcomers face. I'm very curious to know, anyone here moved to a new country with no network, or know someone, maybe like I'm from a family that moved to Canada recently or to the United States, or moved to Canada previously. Let us know in the chat. I know many people in Canada identify as immigrants or newcomers, and you probably would know firsthand. So secondly, lack of understanding of Canadian employer culture. There is a specific culture that Canadian employers, work by. It's understandable. Everyone has a culture. When newcomers don't understand how to work with that, it really does work to their disadvantage unfairly. I'll give you an example. Whenever I was working, I've hired myself as part of a full-time job, and I can really notice the difference between a newcomer applying and someone who's been in Canada for a really long time. Because I always like to share this example. I had once this really high quality candidate apply, and in their cover or in their email, they had also extensive writings about, their family and their wives and children, and maybe these are not things that employers are actually, wanting to learn about. And that's simply because that specific candidate did not understand that in Canadian employer culture, we don't usually include these kind of things in our resumes. And so we can understand how these are sending the wrong signals to the employer and putting newcomers at a disadvantage. Making an effort to understand that goes a long way in better integrating newcomers. I see James here, founder and CEO of Candidly. I immigrated to Canada from South Africa 3 years ago without knowing anyone. That's amazing. That's incredible. And you are now founder of your own company. Congratulations. So number 3 is bias from employers. I'm going to be very straight up here. Employers, there's bias. They see experience that is not Canadian. It is very easy to just disregard that experience because it's not Canadian. I don't understand. I don't know where that school is from. I don't know how good this company is, or in some cases, unfortunately, also racial bias or bias based on name. The name doesn't look like they're from here, or seeing that the address is not in somewhere within the vicinity. So these are all things that challenges or challenges that newcomers face. So understanding the challenges is the number 1 step. Rich Taylor here says, also from South Africa, didn't know anyone, including James. Oh, that's funny. So you really have a diverse team over here. That's really awesome, James and Rich. All right. Speaking of which, let's debunk the Canadian experience requirement, right? And I'm here, we're starting to talk about Canadian experience. We're starting to talk about why we should eradicate it, get rid of this requirement, but we're not quite there yet. And I'm here to really push that agenda. Here's why I think we should totally get rid of the Canadian experience requirement, in the sense that when you see a resume, it has 0 Canadian experience, you'll look at it exactly the same way as you would looking at a resume with a bunch of Canadian experience. Number 1, global work experience is a good thing. You're getting, experience from all around the world, from different parts. That brings a value add to your company. Looking at that more as a plus rather than a hindrance is really key here. Number 2 is, of course, bringing a different perspective is a value add to your company, similar to number 1, global experience. Coming from a different culture, different background, different working, adding something different to your company that you might learn from to change things, what things are in your company. Number 3 is international educational institutions are very competitive. Just because you don't recognize them doesn't mean otherwise, right? Let's change. My mission here is really to change our outlook on this. And feel free to challenge me, by the way. This is a really open session. And then number 4, of course, it's the transferable skills that matter rather than where you got your skills from in the past or what part of the world. All right, I'm gonna move on here. I would love to hear from you, just for a little while, if you have any challenges in finding and hiring immigrant tech talent, and if so, what are they? So maybe just first of all, you might feel you're doing a fantastic job in hiring immigrant tech talent. I know Candidly here has a few people from different parts of the world, but if not, would love to see if there's any suggestions we can give collaboratively in terms of hiring and retaining also immigrant tech talent. I know some people it takes a while to type, so
Yeah,
yeah.
I can jump in while people are typing their responses. So I know that for myself, both within tech talent and even outside of tech talent, Something that we've found challenging is getting our postings in front of them. It's not necessarily that we're excluding them from our recruitment process or not putting them through the recruitment process, but it's rather we're not seeing those applications through the channels that we're currently using. And
That's
so leads into what can we do better as HR professionals?
that's a great point. So not knowing where to find newcomers and immigrants. That's great. And so I think, of course, I'm biased here, but one of the ways that I would recommend, putting these kind of job postings in front of them is to go to networks that are for newcomers and immigrants, whether it's organizations or communities or boards, online platforms. So this is part of actively reaching out to where newcomers are, like settlement agencies as well. But if not, it could also be tech organizations that are exclusively dedicated for newcomers, of course, one of them right here. Imran says, we've adjusted our job posting to not include specific requirements. We've adjusted our job postings to not include specific requirements and more so experience. And it's been really cool to see the various folks applying who have a ton of experience that's not in Canada but applicable. Absolutely, Imran. That is a great, great point. So James says, when looking for, and we're going to get to that very shortly, James says, when looking for talent, immigrants usually have a recent gap in their resume. This usually means that they were waiting on a work permit and not that they were not good enough to get a. That's an amazing point, James, as well. So visa requirements sometimes also gets in the way of newcomers transitioning to Canada. So this is just to get you warmed up. We're gonna get more into this, and I would love, I'm not the only one here sharing. I would love to get your practices as well. You're the HR leaders in here, actually. All right. So why you need tech talent that identifies as immigrant or newcomers? Well, first of all, we need talent, right? Because we're actually all going through challenges in newcomers, challenges in getting talent. There's huge competition out there, and you're competing for the best tech talent out there. And what better way to do this than to go to tech talent that's new to the country, that has not been taken by other awesome employers as well. Great. Imran says, also getting the jobs in front of those individuals is important, as you mentioned. Couldn't agree more. Number two is because you need diversity. Newcomers come from all walks of life, whether ethnically, racially, skill set wise, experience wise, languages. Really, really important for your business. And which brings me to my third point, because you want to do business globally, what better way to do that than to have people representing all parts of the world? Whether you're expanding to different countries or need languages, these are all value adds for actively seeking out immigrant tech talent. If you have any additional, I know some of you here are way ahead, hiring newcomers and immigrants. If you have additional points you want to add, please do so in the chat. All righty. So going to the practices again, I would like to suggest a few practices, but would love to hear from you as leaders in this space. So some practices to hire more immigrants in tech is number one, I would say, or not in any specific order, don't forego a candidate just because they don't have Canadian experience. In fact, I challenge you to seek out resumes and profiles and LinkedIn profiles that don't have Canadian experience or that have a lot of global experience. Which brings me to my next point. Just because you don't recognize, again, as I mentioned, an educational institution or a company doesn't mean it's not competitive. Let's normalize researching new organizations and really going that extra mile. Oh, I don't know this company. And it's located in South Africa, to your point, I'm going to call South African headquarters and I'm going to get a reference from them. Chances are they probably do speak English, or if they don't, how can we overcome that? So I challenge you to get go that extra mile to hire newcomers in tech. Not only because it's the right thing to do, but also I really do believe that it is a smart thing to do. It is a great investment in your business. 3 is to actively monitor and your candidate pipeline and your hires who identifies newcomers or immigrants in tech. At this stage, I'm confident and also hopeful that everyone monitors gender equality in your businesses, gender balance, having women identified professionals in your organization, having non binary identified professionals, trans, etc. Let's normalize also monitoring newcomers and immigrants, or folks who identify as newcomers and immigrants, because only by measuring our impact can we improve and make progress. And then last but not least is to actively seek immigrants and newcomer hires. As Abby mentioned just recently, going to the places where you would find newcomers and immigrants, whether it's through referrals or to the communities or the organizations. I would love to hear some of your practices. I'm very sure I didn't cover all of them, or if I have, some practices you've made to try to reach people different than from your group, because it's very easy to just look at your network. And the thing about asking people from your company to refer, it's great, it's awesome, you'll probably bring awesome talent, but it is likely to bring the same people, or some of the more of the same people. So what are some additional practices you would recommend, or that you already implement, to hire people who are newcomers or people who are different from who you've hired already? And I'll leave some time for people to write down some comments. And also, if Abby, you would like to share in the meantime what your company does, you're more than welcome to.
For sure. Um, so some of the additional practices that we have are um, we go out to local job fairs. So not necessarily like the universities and colleges put on some, but obviously those are aimed at people with Canadian university and college experience. But we also try and attend ones in the past virtually now. Um, that are put on by the city of Hamilton or by partner groups within Hamilton, so that we can try and get out in front of people who maybe are using that as their best form of learning more about businesses and what kind of roles they're looking for. Some of our other practices are, like I mentioned, like we're not excluding people based off of whether they have Canadian experience or not. I think that is a big shift that's happened even somewhat recently. Maybe not within this business, but as in HR as a whole, we're recognizing more readily that that's a very old school way of thinking. It's no longer the way that we should be approaching talent. So that's something that I think was actually vocalized in an HR meeting that I had somewhat recently, where everyone who's on our recruitment team said, "Oh, well, of course, like we've all been doing that, haven't we?" And so it was nice to hear a confirmation on that end, but also that it was specifically brought up and in our review of our recruitment practices, so that now it has been spoken as a team, and that is the expectation we're setting, especially if we have additional recruiters join our team in the future. That's an expectation we've set as a team, that we are looking past where that experience is and what are the skills that they have actually gained. And we do have some additional comments as well from other people. If you guys would like to raise your hand, we can also bring you up on stage, and we can have more of an open dialogue as well if your fingers are getting tired from typing.
Oh, that would be great. Actually, would love to have a couple more people join us on stage.
Hmm Imran, if you are interested, you can raise your hand. I see that you've been very active. I'm going to start calling people out. James, we'd love to have you up here. Rich, just raise your hands. I won't force you up on stage, but raise your hands if you'd like to join us. But the latest comment is not necessarily just for newcomers, but oh, perfect. Here we go.
Yay, yay. I love being joined on stage. This is great.
Excellent. Okay. Here we go. Hello, welcome to the stage. Your camera is off right now, but you can turn it on in the bottom corner if you'd like. There we go. Perfect.
Hello.
Hi, how are you, Imran? Welcome.
Not too bad. Thanks for having me.
Tell us about your
Yes.
your latest yeah, you were sharing something about your website.
Yeah, I think like a thing for me when I started our company in January was seeing the people who work there. I think is a big thing. Like you don't really know who works at a company, and it's a bit too late to know that once you've started with them. So seeing like a team-wide photo and like there's like snapshots of different team members of their workday on our website, which I think was helpful. um, and as well as like how to ace an application with our company was like a help. Like these are the things we're looking for. These are the things that we want. Because you mentioned earlier, like someone who isn't from North America, there's different norms in different regions across the world of like this is what a company looks for. So telling explicitly these are the things we're looking for, like cover letters are important to our hiring team. Well, that's good to know for someone applying versus they may not have done that normally.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting. And you were saying that you've gotten good feedback from applicants. That's a really interesting concept. And honestly, hearing you explain it that way, I'm surprised it's not a more common practice because it just makes sense. That's definitely something I'll be bringing back to my own team. That's great.
Yeah, because
Imran, do you mind sharing with us the website?
yeah, here I'll throw.
Yeah, on the chat. Would love to hop on that as well. Great.
Hmm.
Okay. So if Imran does not have any other things to share with us other than the website, would
Yep.
love to see. Also, feel free to stay with us, Imran, as well. Would love to see if there are any questions. This is the Q&A period. From anyone else about whatever it is that I shared or any additional recommendations. And while I wait, I will go ahead and share something that we have coming up in with Scale Without Borders. Jeff asked me to plug this in. So we have a summit. If you are looking for newcomer tech talent, we have a summit coming up in 3 weeks, November 23rd, 24th. We're aiming for over 1,000 newcomer tech talent, over 25 sessions, over 30 speakers. We will be joined by some phenomenal speakers across Canada, from C-suite level and government officials to junior level, and very inspiring speakers. Will have different workshops and sessions, and we will also be joining forces with some employers to help newcomers get some amazing tech jobs by the end of the summit. That's the whole point. So if you'd like to join, it is free for newcomers. Happy to share with you a code as an employer. And yeah, just let me know. I can share with you the contact information or the website. And I'm also gonna have my contact information here for you to stay in touch with me.
Great. Thank you. All right, Imran, I'm going to let you return to your seat now. There we go. Great. So, do we have any final questions, final comments that we want to include in the chat? Awesome. Okay. Well, Nouhaila, do you have any additional parting remarks that you'd like to make before we sign off for this session?
No, all good. Please stay in touch, and I look forward to connecting with you. James, everyone, Rich, everyone who's here, and look forward to hearing from you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And we hope you'll stick around for our networking session this evening as well. All right.
Thank you so much, Abby.